think the first time when I saw this Gurleen ma'am's video, that actually gives, yes, there is a different dimension to the communication. And that sounded differently as compared to other programs, like more focusing on fluency in English, how do you speak in English, so kind of program. So I think there is a lot of science behind in the communication, and which is not taught in any schools or colleges. This was really undervalued or not focused thing, and I think that is something I get into this program little late, I would say. It would have been good even at the early stage if I got an opportunity. I really see a transformation before the training and the now. Yeah. And the good part, what I felt was the strengths what we have, and that's what report says, like your strengths and weaknesses. The way actually Gurleen ma'am, and especially in my one-on-one, she explained how the strengths can be used to help to support on the whatever the weaknesses we have, how we can actually groom them to the next level using these strengths. That's a real nice connection, and how that exercise we can make it. So our strengths again strengthens our weaknesses. Teenage years, that nervousness always be there when I had to speak in a larger group, but because more focusing on the technical works, so I'm good at speaking all the technical things, concepts, but I always try to avoid speaking in a bigger audience or bigger groups. But when I progress into the higher levels, especially in the leadership roles, I realized that the effective communication is a crucial. And I became a manager just before the pandemic, and I would manage all the communication as there is a rise of the Zoom calls. Okay. And after that, when I had to present to the team, a bigger team in person, I was really uncomfortable. I had dry mouth and shaky legs, and the heartbeat was also warning a lot. I presented, maybe that might not be visible to others to the text and what I was feeling inside. So I was actually trying to find out some solution for that. And I also come to know this is something called as a glossophobia, right? And I try to find out a solution. So some recommendations were to reach out to a psychologist, or some recommendations if it is too much extent to reach out to a psychiatrist. So I had a couple of sessions with them, but I didn't realize that was really helping me. Then I still continued searching what kind of training programs I could take it up, which could definitely enhance me to address the challenge what I have and improve my communication. There were majority of the courses we see like more on the fluent English or some kind of context basis in during the practice. But I was not confident that those trainings were really going to help me. That's just something different problem. It's not just only speaking outside. Then while browsing Facebook, I come across a video of Gurleen ma'am. When I've gone through that video, the things what they call is a communication intelligence. I never heard that communication intelligence word. We heard emotional intelligence, but the communication intelligence was itself sounded different. And the kind of aspects Gurleen ma'am has talked about in that video, I felt something really, different. This was something I was actually looking for. So I registered this program, and that resulted exactly what I was looking for.
What people were telling you about you not being able to communicate and express yourself was, it was blown out of proportions. It's actually a very simple change that you had to make.
So actually, more than people observe me outside, there are a lot actually going through inside. When I had to speak in public, right, there's a lot. So I myself, now I recognize more stable inside. In any quorum, if I need to talk, heartbeat is under control. And whenever it is in control, right, now you will think what is that context actually demands, what you need to speak. So you can focus on the thoughts rather than more on, the uncontrollable, the emotions goes inside. So definitely, yes, this training actually, helped me internally to stabilize a lot of things, which is really, drives my external communication offering. We heard the internal communication, but how does it look? Or how do we actually, bucketize the kind of communication what we do? There are actually, Gurleen ma'am taught us there are 5 aspects towards that. The Miss, Mr., sorry, warrior, or consultant, chill out attitude. So here and there, here and now attitude. So I think the bucketizing the internally what is happening and how you deal each and every situation. I think this is well structured. That actually helped me to stabilize a lot of internal communication.
You have been able to apply the not to do list in your life, specifically when it comes to not interrupting the people around you. And I think you've had a lot of realizations while applying the specific aspects of the not to do list, and it's helped you evolve your relationships with people in a very better manner. So, what would you like to say about that?
So, what I would say is when this empathetic listening, right? When we had that, how you actually listen it. And it's not just listening, and what actually the internal process. When you are listening, we need to follow it. I think those techniques help me to not interrupting others, just to listening to, and it was really making more calm and relaxed because we are not actually making any judgment what others speak, and we are not actually having any prejudice or kind of biases, and which made usually a kind of selective listening. You will not be able to hear. So those has been completely taken out of the internal things what actually happens while we listen to somebody. So that actually happened because of this not to do list concept. So as I said in that Gentag was, it's unconventional. We always used to hear that to make a to-do list, but this is something not to-do list. So I made many points and I strictly followed. I'm continuously following now. But when I made the list and after I felt like I'm not doing some of things which doesn't make any sense, which felt me like something burden taken on top of my head, taken off, and also it's kind of self-liberation. So you're free because those were things that are unnecessary cluttering your internal thought process. So yeah, once I started this call, right, not interrupting others. So people also felt they would have opportunity to completely say what they want to say, and also they also got a feel like, yes, I am respecting them and I'm giving a value to them what they're speaking. That actually builds a connection.
Example is a very big testimony to that fact that empathetic listening automatically just helps you drive the connections that you want.
Yeah. And also I think there's something called the invisible authority. So when you respect others, when you actually give it time to listen completely what others say, so it actually builds kind of authority in that context.
It absolutely does. You're very right, and the reason for that is because only time people usually get a chance to complete their thought process is when they're sitting in front of leaders who have the power to do something about what they're saying. What has changed in your internal thought process, and how has it changed over the last 12 weeks?
So as I mentioned, being nervous when I had to speak. So we always sometimes internally happens like if somebody asks me what should I speak. So your thought process more onto, okay, if something asks what I need to speak. In that loop when you are there, you will not be able to focus what others are speaking, right? When you internally stable and you are not worrying about what to speak, then you actually listen others, right? When you start listening it, then automatically you will also have a complete picture and complete context. You will aware of what others want to say, and in fact they will also communicate what they actually want. So you need not to in between try to analyze, okay, this is what they're speaking, what could be the expectation from them, what they're going to ask, why they are speaking. Not required. So this actually brings a lot of stability inside, and you will be listening completely, and it's not just what they speak. You will be able to understand a lot of cues what they actually exhibit.
I also want to understand, how has the perception of the people in your professional and personal circle changed about you? I understand that you've been getting a lot of appreciation from your leadership body in the past couple of weeks. So would you like to talk a little bit about that?
In fact, one of the exercise what we made during this program was to, doing interviews with friends and family members. So I have done 4 interviews who are very close friends, and the lot of points what actually being said to me, those were exactly matching to the SWOT analysis. What is the tool actually, and as well as the personality profile report, there was complete correlation what people observed and this PPR and SWOT reports. What I see, I was really surprised.
What makes Gurleen ma'am stand apart as a mentor?
I think she's a doctorate, right? She's doctorate in psychotherapy and counseling.
Therapy
I
and
think
counseling.
that really exhibits each and every point what she actually trained as a part of this program. I think a lot of groundwork has happened, extensive research has happened. Either we talk about the not to release, right? Other point, the first session she talked about unlearn fast and learn slow, right? And it's sometimes we feel like it's completely unconventional. We always say the learn fast. So those techniques, when we actually really go and understand the things, if some learnings which is doesn't making any sense, it is important for us to unlearn those things. It actually remove a lot of clutter in our mind and our thought process. That actually create a space for new learnings and new ideas. That actually triggers for innovative thoughts, right? That's why it helps us to grow. It helps us to clean up the things so that we'll have a very clean mind and thoughts. So that's definitely another aspect to have a very good communication internally as well as externally. So those were unconventional kind of things what Gurleen ma'am mentioned. It cannot just thrown like that. There must be a lot of research happen. How does it work? And as well as the Kaizen techniques, right? The perspective techniques what she talked about, observe minutely, right? And add a new perspective and speak yourself before you share to others. The kind of OTPS, the technique what is. So that can be applied in every way, and you always have your identity in any context where you are. And she had patience, higher level, and she understand when we are speaking, right, what we are speaking, what challenges we are speaking, and she actually correlate to nice stories also, especially the marginal adjustment, the nice story what she actually explained. It always remembers, okay, this is what actually the process you need to follow. So I think a lot of knowledge she possesses, especially in the communication intelligence, the affirmation techniques, what is actually taught, that really plays a stronger role in strengthening the internal communication. That actually boosting a lot of confidence. Yeah, that's a really wonder, I would say, of it, what Gurleen ma'am taught to us.
Absolutely. Very right, Mr. Kiran. And especially because, everybody reads a lot about the different elements of the program made it what it is today. What do you have to say about the different elements of the program?
So one thing is the tools and techniques what Gurleen ma'am taught us. Definitely, those were very important in this journey to transform myself from before the training to now, where I could comfortably speak. Apart from that, the kind of rules set, it's not kind of a discipline kind of, I would say, that but the people who be part of that one, they are actually the kind of the feedback, the constructive feedback. Sometimes I surprise, okay, this is another perspective or another dimension to see the same situation. Manager roles, we spend a lot of time in giving the feedback. I learned a lot to how that such a constructive feedback means. What are the different aspects we need to see, and how you put in such a way that they understand the strengths and as well as they understand what areas they need to improve. That's very well structured. I think that is something I admired of seeing kind of feedback. What is actually you and Gurleen ma'am along with the fellow Zenith, the members what actually given in this. That's really good.
Of course, that education is very important. My question to you is going to be: is this education? When I talk about education, I mean communication intelligence, also very important?
Definitely, I think we always spend a lot of time in communicating with people. I mean, that's an external, but we do communicate a lot inside. Definitely, other educations are important, but if you are, sharpen your skill, okay, the internal communication, the external communication, I think a lot of problems will actually, eradicate. Right? Many times we were not rightly communicating. Okay, it is not about me, it is about others. So when I'm communicating, right, it's about others, how they will perceive. So understanding these things, and when you are good at these skills, I think it is definitely as a multifold, either it could be personal or in a career, your growth will be, and you will have a lot of peace also, I would say. So yes, it is, I would say, a kind of training programs. You should have an opportunity to do it at an early stage, sooner possible, so that it would not be an impediment for anyone's life that, because we are not growing well due to, not effective communication we have. I think this is a mandatory skill, I would say, for everyone. It should be introduced at the early stage, like, maybe since the childhood or at least from the teenage, right? It has to be there when people start communicating and more interacting with the people. And yeah, I think I would really appreciate and immensely thanks to Gurleen ma'am and you, and as well as Murdu and all the people who work background with Zenith. Really, thank you very much.